Welcome everyone to the 73rd Annual Father of the Year Awards Luncheon. The National Father's Day Committee is part of the Father's Day Mother's Day Council Incorporated, a not-for-profit organization which channels funds raised by annual awards luncheons to help meaningful philanthropies dealing with issues affecting fathers, mothers, and children. To date, the council has donated nearly $35 million to deserving charities nationwide.
I'd like to thank the council for a phenomenal event, phenomenal organization. Ashok, who developed this award, and his vision, his compassion, he certainly touched my life and my family's life and thousands of others. Thank you very much.
Being a father is the greatest thing in the world. Helping others is fantastic too. It's great to be here today, and I'm truly humbled to be receiving this prestigious award. It really means so much to me because it's so close to my heart, and I'm honored to be on stage with such a group of fathers like we have today.
This is one of the awards that I would never in a million years think that I'd ever be up here standing receiving. I'm so glad to be blessed with two little daughters, and they are like my heart. And I'm so grateful to be able to be a good father to them. And I'm really thankful for you all honoring me tonight. Thank you all.
Congratulations to my fellow honorees. I'm inspired by all that we've heard this afternoon. I'm so glad that we're here today to support Save the Children. The fact that 1 in 4 children live in poverty, and that we sit here today and can do something about it reminds us really the priorities in life.
Yes, I am the governor of New Jersey. It is good to be over here in a suburb of New Jersey, enjoying lunch. How our children reacted when this acknowledgement was announced. They just blankly stared back at me and said, "Really?" So thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for supporting this really extraordinary organization and the work of Save the Children. And thank you for this honor today. It means a great deal to me.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Orwig. I'm honored to be here today as the President and CEO of the National Father's Day Mother's Day Council. At this time, if I may ask you all to please rise for the singing of our national anthem by the New Amsterdam Boys and Girls Choir. Welcome everyone to the 73rd Annual Father of the Year Awards Luncheon. Please feel free to enjoy your lunch as we begin our program. I would like to personally thank everyone here today for your support as we celebrate the Father's Day holiday, and congratulate the 2014 Father of the Year honorees: Curtis Martin, Vince Camuto, Tony Spring, Governor Chris Christie, and this year's GQ All-Star Dad, Robert Reed. First, I would like to take a minute to express my sincerest appreciation and gratitude to this year's sponsors. Should be on a screen here for us. And a special thanks to our presidential and co-chair sponsorships, PVH, Ralph Lauren, and the Commuto Group. Thank you for all that you do to make this event possible. So it's great to see such an amazing turnout here today. We're honored that everyone here has decided to take a break from their busy schedules and recognize these deserving fathers. We have a very, very exciting event this year, and we're proud to celebrate these devoted men whose strong dedication to their families, careers, and public service are representative of what today's parents should aspire to achieve. Since 1931, when the Father's Day Council was organized, we've paid tribute to more than 450 outstanding dads. And we're honored to have a few of them here with us today. If they could please rise when I call their name. Ronnie Wurzberger, Terry Lundgren, Ken DeWayne, Oscar Feldenkrais, Mark Shriver, Mike Satola, and Joe Rivers. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today. But honoring great dads and raising the profile of this important celebration is not our only mission at the Father's Day Council. We have another main objective, and that is philanthropy. The National Father's Day Committee is part of the Father's Day Mother's Day Council Incorporated, a not-for-profit organization which channels funds raised by annual awards luncheons to help meaningful philanthropies dealing with issues affecting fathers, mothers, and children. To date, the Council has donated nearly $35 million to deserving charities nationwide. Today, in a time where underprivileged children need our help more than ever, we're delighted to be donating proceeds of today's luncheon to Save the Children's U.S. programs, which heroically provides hope and aid to those who need it most. We are so inspired by the work that they do and proud to partner with Save the Children again this year. Okay, and now I am pleased to introduce today's Mistress of Ceremonies, a 2014 Outstanding Mother Award honoree and the co-host of CBS This Morning, Norah O'Donnell. I got some notes for you. I have some great facts to share. Throughout her exceptional career, Norah has traveled the globe covering the people and events that affect and impact our daily lives. Her extraordinary range of interviews has included such influential leaders as the Dalai Lama, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, and President Obama. Prior to CBS This Morning, Norah served as the White House correspondent for CBS, the chief Washington correspondent for MSNBC, and correspondent for NBC News. She's an Emmy Award-winning journalist and part of the CBS News team that received an Alfred I. DuPont Award for professionalism and integrity for the network's coverage of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Her breaking news coverage on September 11, 2001, also earned a prestigious Sigma Delta Chi Award. Norah serves on the board of directors for the International Women's Media Foundation, is the co-author of a best-selling cookbook called Baby Love, which she wrote with her husband, and is the proud mother of 3 children, twins Henry and Grace, and youngest daughter Riley. I was fortunate to join in celebrating Norah last month when the National Mother's Day Committee honored Norah with an Outstanding Mother Award for 2014. And I'm thrilled to have her here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Norah O'Donnell.
Thank you very much, Dan, and welcome everyone. It's a delight to have all of you here for this year's awards. As Dan mentioned, it was an honor. Just last month, I received the Mother of the Year award, and it's a good thing to be able to tell your children that you've won this award, right? They seem to think differently after they've heard that you've been recognized in this way. In fact, my 7-year-old son, Henry, when he heard that I'd received the award, he said, "Really? You're the best mother in the whole world?" And I said, "Well, no, it's kind of just Mother of the Year." He's like, "In the United States?" And I said, "Yeah, kind of in the United States." And he's like, "You're the best mother in the United States?" Well, there were 3 other nominees, too, who also got Mother of the Year, but, but nevertheless, it's a great honor, and your children will continue to think highly of us as parents after they hear this. One of the reasons, too, I think that we're all here, too, though, is to support Save the Children and what they're doing for families and children all across the country. I've been involved in the past and delighted to be here again as we raise awareness about fathers and also raise awareness for this very important charitable cause. Now, before we all start, I want you all to get your smartphones. Now, for those of you that already have your smartphones in your hands, checking emails or checking with your office, keep them out because this is part of this year's luncheon. What we're going to do is use our smartphones to do something different. You can participate and contribute toward the success of this important work that the National Father's Day Council does. So this is your chance with your smartphone to be part of this movement called Text to Pledge. And by following a few simple steps, you can contribute any amount to our organization right now, and your pledge will go up on the screen. So this is, I mean it, this is your one chance in this luncheon. You can pull out your iPhone or whatever smartphone you use, your Samsung. Here's how you do it. Create a new text message in your cell phone, right? I'm watching you guys. This is the opportunity to contribute. Then enter the number that you see on the screen, and I'll read it to you too. Ready? 646-288-4100 in the address line. Look, Governor Christie's doing it. He knows the importance of donations, right? Type your name or company name, the amount of your pledge, and then any short message that you want to share, and you hit send. And if you want, you can donate anonymously as well. Just put that in there. And your tax-deductible donations will support underprivileged youth and disaster-impacted families across the country. Now, who's going to be the first person to text? We're going to see it up on the screen there. Matthew Youngs, thank you. So we're going to continue to, let's give Matthew a round of applause. I'll just point out your donation will not be billed through your mobile carrier, but it will rather lead you through the payment process so you can continue that. For now, we're going to all watch some of the texts accumulate and the pledges accumulate behind us. And when this event is over, Text to Pledge ends too. So start texting now and throughout the lunch, have fun, and get behind our deserving beneficiaries. Save the children. And we'll hear more about them later in the lunch. At this time, I would like you to please join me in welcoming Chris Mitchell. He is the Vice President and publisher of GQ magazine, and he will be presenting the 2014 Ashok Sani All-Star Dad Award, sponsored by GQ. Please welcome Chris Mitchell.
Thank you, Noah. Wonderful. Thank you. Hi, everybody. In addition to honoring 4 incredible fathers up here on the dais, we are also pleased to honor the 2014 Ashok Sani All-Star Dad. Ashok Sani was a beloved husband and father, and while he considered his family to be his calling, he also had a deep commitment to giving equal recognition to all. His interests in ethics, truth, love, peace, nonviolence, compassion, and moral and social responsibilities all live on through the Ashok Sani Scholar in Residence program at New York University and the Ashok Sani All-Star Dad Award, both of which are underwritten by the Sani Family Foundation. In the spirit of Ashok Sani, GQ invited the public during the month of May to submit essays for their nominees for this year's All-Star Dad. This is a nationwide program, and we put all of the power and weight of the GQ brand to make sure that as many people knew and sent nominations for this. The All-Star Dad Award honors a father who goes beyond being a responsible caregiver, beyond being a loving mentor. We were looking for someone who gives extraordinarily to his family and to the world around him, a man whose tireless efforts make a life better for his children and for his community. This year, the National Father's Day Committee, GQ, and the Sani Family Foundation selected Robert Reed as the 2014 All-Star Dad. And the essay for this award was amazing. So I'd like to ask Julianne Reed to come up and share her winning essay on why her dad deserves this honor.
I want to thank all of you for recognizing my dad because he is a very special person. My dad raised 4 amazing children, including his mentally disabled yet beautifully inspirational daughter, Olivia. My little sister suffers from epilepsy, and my father goes above and beyond to fight for her and all individuals with disabilities. He is the longtime admired coach of the Special Olympics swimming team in the greater Worcester area of Massachusetts. Although not required, he makes special certificates, awards, and games for all of his swimmers every year. He has walked in local and national Epilepsy Foundation relays. He is the man that carries around several Dunkin' Donuts gift cards in his pocket to give out to the homeless individuals he passes on a daily basis. He has a gratitude board, and every week he writes 3 things that he's thankful for on it. He is the definition of selfless. On Christmas, he helps my little sister make Christmas cards for every employee at our favorite restaurant to show gratitude. He is constantly giving to those around him, and he never expects anything in return. His motto, and he even has a tattoo of it, sorry, cat's out of the bag, anything is possible. He brings fun and liveliness into every situation he enters. And lastly, it's very difficult for my sister to wake up for school because of her disorder. So in order to ease the process, he actually dresses up as her favorite musician, Justin Bieber, in the hat, the jacket, and the headset microphone, and sings her favorite songs to make it easier to get up and to make her smile. I want to thank my dad for everything that he's done and everything that he's taught us, because we love you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. And Robert Reed, our 2014 All-Star Dad.
Thank you. Wow. It's quite an honor. It's quite humbling. I usually don't get in front of a lot of people, but this is well worth it. It's very unexpected. Before I start, I'd like to actually recognize a few people also in some great organizations. Ashok, Ashok, who developed this award, and his vision, his compassion, he certainly touched my life and my family's life and thousands of others just through me standing here. I'd like to thank the council for a phenomenal event, phenomenal organization, a very mission-driven, philanthropic organization. I'd like to thank or recognize the other honorees, Governor Christie, Vince, and Curtis Martin and Tony Springs. Congratulations. And also Nora O'Donnell, I guess the best mother in the world. Is it world or United States? Yep. GQ Magazine, and obviously Save the Children's Organization. So I know I don't have much time, but I wanted to take a few minutes, and I guess let me start where I was born. I was actually born in New York, in Brooklyn, but I never really lived in Brooklyn. I actually lived in New Jersey. Sorry, Governor. We lived in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, and you see my mom and dad grew up in Brooklyn, and they grew up in a brownstone playing stickball. They loved the Brooklyn Dodgers. They liked Joe Louis, the whole thing. And they had a bucket list, and one of them was to have every child born in Brooklyn, New York. So when they moved to New Jersey, my mom had to drive every time she was pregnant into Brooklyn to have us. So she's here now, and she will tell you all of her kids were born in Brooklyn. Now, the good news about New Jersey is we were actually all conceived in New Jersey. So that is the most important part. So New Jersey is in my heart. There's so much I can say, but I think to summarize, I'd like to tell a short story that actually happened to me that I think puts in perspective everything about being a dad and all the dads that are out there. You see, my daughter, Olivia, has a boyfriend, and his name is JB. Now, unfortunately, JB has a lot of girlfriends. In fact, This morning when I looked at 9 a.m., he had 52,600,000 Twitter followers. So his name is Justin Bieber. That's her boyfriend. So we went to the Boston Garden to go see his concert. Now, they were sold out, and so the all-star dad here had to find tickets. So the pressure's on. I went to the secondary market, and they're very expensive. So I couldn't get the seats together. I had to get them separate. I couldn't afford both seats, but I wanted Olivia down front. When we got there, I sat next to her. She was in an aisle seat, and I crouched down because I had to sit next to her. I couldn't sit in my seat way up. And as I'm sitting there, all of a sudden, I see the yellow shirt security guard coming up the steps, and he's got his flashlight, and he says, "Sorry, sir, you can't sit here." And I said, "Well, as a dad, I'm trying to explain, I have this daughter, she has special needs, she has seizures, I couldn't get tickets together, they're too expensive." And I start, "Sir, you have to leave." So I was like, wow, he's got to be a Yankees fan. So anyway, I went up to my seat. 10 minutes later, I came back down when the lights went down. And so now I'm sitting next to her on the aisle, and I'm hiding. And I think no one sees me. All of a sudden, it's very dark, and I see this figure coming up the steps. I don't really see him, but I see that flashlight. You know, the one that just goes back and forth, like in movie theaters? You see that light, and it's like, oh my goodness, here he comes. At this time, I'm on the ground. I'm behind the chair on the concrete. All of a sudden, the vision came to me of The Sound of Music, and it was the scene where they were in the cemetery, and they're hiding, and Rolf is looking for them. So here I am down behind the seats, and sure enough, the lights hit my face. He says, "Sir, you need to come with us." So we were kind of busted. He takes us down the steps, he walks down, makes a turn, comes back up, goes through 2 security guards, we go through a door, we come out, and we're 10 feet from the stage. And he says, "I want you guys to sit here." And he looked at me in the eyes and he said, "I understand it because I'm a dad too." And so I think that story hopefully sums up what we all have. It's the dads that go above and beyond and can touch people they don't know. I think the other thing I recognize and take away from it is the flashlight. And I think for all the dads out there, especially Father's Day, we all have a flashlight. And we all have, I think, a responsibility with this flashlight to make sure we use it, to make sure we shine it on all our kids, and to also realize that this flashlight goes beyond our kids. That light beam is pretty powerful. So for me, and hopefully the takeaway message for you, is for dads, have that flashlight. And I think we all need to use it. And lastly, I'd like to recognize my family who is in the audience out here. If you guys just stand up, they're the ones that make it all possible for me. My son, Robert, he's the tall one. There's Matthew, Julianne, Olivia, who has a boyfriend, JB, as you know. I have my incredible mom from Brooklyn. My 2 sisters, Diane and Karen, and my fiancée, Marisa. And then last, I'd like to thank my dad, who's up there. My dad was who really formed me. He was the biggest influence in my life. He's kind of a jokester in a sense. He passed 3 years ago, 10 years with Alzheimer's. And he passed actually on February 19th, 2/19, which is my birthday, 2/19. And he actually passed at 2:19 p.m. So it was pretty amazing that my dad was there with me, and I think he was sending me a message to carry on. And I hope I represent the dads out there, and that's why I'm here, is for everyone else. I'm just a representative. And I hope all the dads out there remember their flashlight for this Father's Day. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Robert. Beautiful. Oh, yeah.
Hey, you already got yours last month.
Beautiful. Now I'd like for you to join me in welcoming back to last year's Masters of Ceremonies, Mark Shriver. Mark was a 2008 Father of the Year honoree, and I've known Mark for many years. I covered his first run for Congress, and now he's continuing in public service. As the Senior Vice President for Strategic Initiatives at Save the Children, Mark Shriver has developed Save the Children's early childhood development, literacy, and health programs throughout the U.S. I'm on Mark Shriver's email list. I'm sure some of you are too, and if you are, you know his commitment to this organization. It's a lot of emails, Mark, but I'm proud of you. What you should know about what Mark has done in this role is that it has helped and benefited more than 240,000 children and families living in some of the country's most impoverished areas. Mark has been a longtime supporter and friend of this organization, and also the Father's Day and Mother's Day Council. So please welcome Mark Shriver.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Well, we're at almost a couple days from Father's Day. It's a big event. It's great. It's my favorite event of the year. Governor, thank you very much for coming. I want to thank the Father's Day Committee as well. This is a huge deal for Save the Children's U.S. programs. As Dan mentioned, this committee has raised over $35 million, which is an amazing number over the years. And for Save the Children's work here in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, but all across America, the money raised today is truly important. And I want to thank all the folks who are up there. Governor, I saw that you put $500 in there. That's amazing. I was in politics. You get invited to a lot of events. If you put $500 into every event, you'd be broke. So thank you for your contribution. Seriously, it makes a huge difference. I want to thank Nora for that very kind introduction. It's an interesting collection of talent up here for me in my situation. Nora had mentioned that I was the MC last year. I got dumped. I was supposed to be the MC this year, but evidently, as you see, there are a lot of men up here, and they'd rather look at Nora than me. So that was nice. She covered my first race. It was my only race. I was ahead, Governor, in the polls until Nora did a piece on me. So I tanked. So when Nora says it was my first run, it was my only run, thanks to Nora. Robert Reed, though, and the great stuff he just talked, that was a joke, right? Yeah, I know. Okay, because she's still on the air, so she can nail me. So Robert Reed, my mother started Special Olympics, and I want to thank you for the volunteer work that you do at Special Olympics. I hope that my daughter will be as elegant and as eloquent as your daughter was coming up here. I saw your daughter Olivia waving madly, and I love her energy, and I love the words you said. So Special Olympics is really close to my heart. Vince Camuto, I'm wearing one of your outfits. This is good stuff. Where are you? Oh, sorry, right there. This is comfortable. Yeah, it looks good on me. Thank you very much, Mr. Camuto. It's great. Tony Spring, my mom loved Bloomies. My wife loves Bloomies. Curtis Martin, I've rooted against you my entire life. So it's not nice to see you. And Governor Christie, my wife was a Republican and she became a Democrat, so there's hope for you too, all right? At some point. But seriously, Governor, I'm really honored that you're here. Save the Children, as you all know, after Hurricane Sandy came a couple of years ago, has done a lot of work in Monmouth County and Atlantic County and Hoboken, rebuilding child care centers, got a lot of help. I actually met yesterday with your secretary about the issue of child care and making sure that preparedness is a priority in the state of New Jersey, because there is going to be another storm, and you've been terrific on that, so thank you very much, Governor. I just want to say one quick word about Save the Children's work here in the U.S. and why these Texas pledges are so important. The number of kids that live in poverty in America is almost 25%. That's almost 1 in 4 kids in America live in a family of 4 that has got roughly $20,000 in that family. And most of the kids that we work with are in severe poverty. The families have somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $11,000 of income a year. We work on early childhood programs, making sure that kids are entering kindergarten ready to learn, a home visiting program where we literally go into the home and work with the mother, the father, who's ever in the home to read to their kids, to play games with their children, the intellectual and social and emotional stimulation that kid needs to enter kindergarten ready to learn. I went down with a couple of members from the Father's Day Committee just a few months ago, and we saw the Save the Children folks in the home teaching the parents how to read to kids, how to stimulate their brains. Poor kids enter kindergarten almost 18 months behind my kids. And as a country, we spend billions of dollars trying to remediate those kids to get them up to speed by second or third grade. What SAVE is doing is investing early, and the ROI is profound if we invest early. So those first 8 years of life, the home visiting programs, the education programs we run in first, second, and third grade make a huge difference. Excuse me, you're seeing some of the pictures. That's Dana on his knees there. And the health programs we run are truly important to make sure that these kids are at school, they're doing well in school, and they're thriving. And as I mentioned, in New Jersey, but also around America and across the world, Save the Children is doing work on disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. And we're so proud of that work, and we're so grateful to the Father's Day Committee for their support, for the Mother's Day Committee a few months ago when Nora got her award, for your great help. Before I go, I kind of looked at Curtis Martin as I was talking. He looks mad at me. So I did admire you, I just didn't like you on certain Sundays. Thank you all very much for your support, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for all that you do and for everyone involved in Save the Children and what they do for the children of our country. Now we're going to begin the awards portion of this program. And our first award today goes to the Governor of New Jersey, Governor Chris Christie. He was sworn in as Governor of New Jersey in January 2010, and he was reelected to a second term in 2013. As many of you know, he is known for his small personality and his modesty, but his biggest fault perhaps may be that he never really speaks his mind. As Governor of New Jersey, you know that state right across the GW Bridge, Chris Christie has taken on Chris Christie has taken on a bold reform agenda. For those of you, I know there's many people here who are from the state of New Jersey. He's tried to restore fiscal integrity and accountability to government. He's prioritized New Jersey's highest in the nation property taxes and reform of the state's pension and health benefit system. He has made education a top priority in an effort to give every child an access to quality education. Some of you may know his background, but he graduated from the University of Delaware in 1984. He then attended Seton Hall University School of Law. He later joined a Cranford law firm where he was named a partner. He was elected a freeholder in Morris County and served as director of the board in 1997. And in 2002, Christie was named U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. What you may not know about Governor Chris Christie is that he has also advocated for effective drug abuse treatment through Daytop Village, and that is a drug rehabilitation facility in Mendham, New Jersey. And he also serves on the organization's board of trustees. Last September, he and his wife, Mary Pat, were honored with the Spirit of Daytop Award for their service and work with the organization. The governor was born in Newark, he was raised in Livingston, and he has lived in New Jersey his whole life. He and Mary Pat have been married since 1986, and if you know Mary Pat, she is a wonderful, wonderful woman. They now live in Mendham, where they are raising their 4 children, Andrew, Sarah, Patrick, and Bridget. Please join me in congratulating 2014 Father of the Year, Governor Chris Christie.
Thank you very much. I know we have a short period of time, but Nora gave me so much to work with. But let me start with Robert. Congratulations to you, and thank you for your remarks. We have something in common. I, too, was conceived in New Jersey, so that's good. And I think everybody who comes up here today should have to announce where they were conceived as well. Should make it really entertaining lunch. Maybe even get more specific. Not just the state or municipality, but exactly where you were conceived. But I won't because my daughter is here, so we're going to keep that calm. Secondly, yes, I am the governor of New Jersey. It is good to be over here in a suburb of New Jersey, enjoying lunch. And Nora, it is now administration policy that we call New Jersey, when we're in New York, the place on the other side of the Lincoln Tunnel. I want to thank the council for this recognition. We were talking amongst the group of us who are being recognized today about how our children reacted when this acknowledgement was announced. I was asked, how did your children react? And I have a 20-year-old son, Andrew, an 18-year-old daughter, Sarah, a 13-year-old son, Patrick, and a 10-year-old daughter, Bridget. And the response was universal. They just blankly stared back at me and said, "Really?" And I felt very warm about that and once again, feel the warm embrace of my family. I won't say what Curtis is going to come up here and speak. He had a good answer too. I'm sure he'll tell you what his was as well. But all of us, I think here, when it was first announced that we were getting this recognition, were surprised. Because I don't think when you're a parent, you think about what you do from day to day as something that will ever really get recognition. And it's not why you do it. You do it, I think, because there is nothing more precious in your life than your children. And, you know, I remember when our first child was born, our son Andrew was born, I was with Mary Pat during the delivery and stayed with her during that evening and then left. And I felt compelled to travel from the hospital to my parents' house before I went back to my home. And I came in and I looked at my mother and father and I said, "Listen, I can't stay long. I'm tired. It's been a really long day. But I just want to say one thing. I'm sorry." And he said, "For what?" And I said, "Remember all the times you told me I would never understand until I was a parent myself, and I said you were full of it? I'm sorry." It only took a couple of hours to understand what they had been telling me all my life, but I couldn't have any capacity to understand it until that moment when that new life came into your life and was your responsibility and also your joy. And so for me, today is really recognition for the best thing that I get to do with my life. I get recognized and criticized and praised for all kinds of other things. But the most important thing that I get to do every day is to be a father to my 4 children. And it is the most lasting and important thing that I'll ever do with my life. And you hear people say that all the time, but until you're really doing it with your life, you don't have the capacity to understand what those words mean. But to the people in this audience who are here today to honor us, you know exactly what I mean. And especially, I think, for me now, having my life be so public, you owe a special debt of gratitude to your children. Because while you're trying to do for them, when your life becomes so public, they understand a lot of what your life now means. My 10-year-old daughter, Bridget, capsulizes it very well. She's the one who has spent most of her life, she's 10, with me and Mary Pat being in public life. And one day she said to me, "Dad, do you know what my least favorite words in the world are?" I was intrigued. So I said, "No, Bridget, I don't know." And she said, "I hate to interrupt, Governor, but." And I said, "Well, you know, Bridget, when people do that, they're just trying to be nice." And she said, "Yeah, but if they hate to interrupt, why do they?" Children bring things down to their most common denominator. And I understand that when your life is like that, your children sacrifice a lot for you being their father as well. And so for me today, the people that I want to thank the most for this are not the council or all of you, but it's my 4 children who give me the opportunity to be here, who inspire me every day, who put up with me and my crazy life, and who give me such a great sense of joy every day in my life with every little thing that they do. Even when they frustrate me, they give me another opportunity to find something within myself to help them become better people. And so I do want to recognize, too, I have one representative of my family here today. But I think the rest of them are probably silently protesting. They still don't really buy this. But my new favorite child is here today, my 18-year-old daughter, Sarah. Sarah, would you please stand up? She's right over there. You have no idea how big this is going to be for you. Absolutely no idea at all. The other three kids are now a distant fourth, fifth, and sixth, even though we only have 4 children. So I want to thank Sarah for being here. We're incredibly proud of her. She graduated from high school on Sunday, and will be becoming a freshman at the University of Notre Dame in September. So we're thrilled for her. Go Irish. So thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for supporting this really extraordinary organization and the work of Save the Children. And thank you for this honor today. It means a great deal to me.
Beautifully said, Governor. Congratulations. Our next honoree this afternoon is the CEO and Chief Creative Officer of Camuto Group, Vince Camuto. At this time, I'd like to ask Vince's children, Andrea, John, Christopher, and Philip, to come up to say a few words about their father. Please join us and welcome them with applause.
Good afternoon. We are honored to be here today celebrating all the fathers who go above and beyond for their families each and every day. Congratulations to each and every one of you. It is truly an incredible achievement. First, I would like to wish my father a happy birthday. For some reason, as I get older, somehow you get younger. I wonder what's in that water you're drinking. If you don't know my father, he is the most caring and inspirational person you could ever have the pleasure of spending time with. My dad is not just my father. He is my best friend and my biggest supporter. Through the years, my father has given me the greatest gifts you can give a child: unconditional love and outstanding support. He goes above and beyond for his kids. And through thick and thin, he is always right by our side, even when he doesn't agree with our choices. He inspires me to be passionate and put love into everything I do. When I was only 8 years old, my parents separated. Their lives were going in different directions, and my dad was busy building a major company. He and my mom made us kids a priority, something I will always cherish and admire. I went through a tough time then, and my dad helped me get back on my feet. I remember he sat me down and told me to look in my eyes and said, "When I was your age, my mother would tell me every morning, you can do anything you set your mind to. You just have to visualize it, and it will happen." And it is so true. He spoke to me with such passion and conviction. With tears in his eyes, he said, "John, you have the heart, you have the drive, you can do anything you want. You just need to visualize what you want, and it will happen. I truly do believe in you." When my dad looks you in the eye, you know he's speaking from the heart. I felt his sincerity. He really wanted me to succeed. I actually felt an electric pulse run throughout my body and knew immediately I could do anything if I work hard to achieve my goals. That same year, I graduated with the Headmaster's Award, which was an accomplishment and a true honor. I will always dedicate that award to my father. My dad has always been a superhero for me and has been my greatest inspiration. He has taught me the most valuable lessons in life. He taught me to love people for who they are. He taught me to treat everyone with respect. He finally taught me to find passion and pursue my dreams. My dad is one of my biggest believers, and my dad is one of the biggest believers in giving back to those around you. He has helped so many people and helped me become the man I am today. Not only do I get to experience his caring nature firsthand, but I also have the privilege to see all the amazing ways he impacts the community around us. I am his biggest fan, and it is an honor to call him Dad and present him with this award. No one is more deserving. Thank you, Dad. We love you.
There are a million different stories I could tell you about my dad, like how he showed up to every football game, even though most of the time we lost, or every doctor's appointment, or just entertaining me and John till 3 a.m. in the morning. But the story that best encompasses my father's character is his love for magic. Back in the early 90s, my dad's best friend, Aldo, did research on our family's heritage, and he found the Camuto crest, which has been in our family for generations. Once my dad saw the crest, he immediately had it ingrained on a ring. And ever since then, he's been using it to protect himself, find himself when he's lost, and to communicate with his father, as well as making your wildest wishes come true. I was first introduced as Mr. Ring on a turbulent airplane at age 7. I was horrified. So my dad told me to rub his ring and everything should be fine. So I did, and he made some sort of whoosh sound, and everything was fine. After that, I was a true believer in magic, and I used that ring for everything, even though at 7, I didn't really have a whole lot of problems. Though, I do remember using it to ask my first girlfriend out. I remember waking up early before school, coming running down the house halls, screaming, "Dad, Dad, Dad, I need the ring to ask out Katie out," jumbling all of my words, and my dad said, "Chris, relax, settle down, you can use the ring, and it'll give you enough confidence and charm to the point when she can't say no." And as for the usual case in our family, my dad was right. And we had the best time 2 7-year-olds could have on a date. As I got older, I didn't need to rub that ring anymore. I could just visualize it and hear the Father's words in the back of my head. Be utterly confident in yourself. Be able to show persistence in pursuing your dreams and stand by your values. I still use that ring to this day to regain my faith, protect myself when I feel lost, and to stay connected with my family, as well as having a piece of my dad I can always communicate, just like he did with his. No one but my father could have shown me a better path to success, taught me the art of fatherhood, and how to treat others. I may only have 4 blood relatives in this room, but I can count out 100 family members because my dad treats everyone like family. Being able to teach all of your 7-year-old kid this just by showing him a ring is more magical than anything I've ever experienced in my life. So, Dad, I want to thank you for taking that ring out on the plane, in the car, at school, or wherever we were. I want to thank you because even though you grew up without a father figure, you've given me the best model imaginable. I want to thank you for always being the best father because I'm sure at times I wasn't the best son, being stubborn or difficult or a know-it-all, but I got to get that from somewhere, so. I want to thank you for showing me what real magic is, believing in yourself and having the conviction and confidence to pursue your dreams and to always be kind and passionate. It's because of these characteristics that got you where you are today. It's because of these characteristics I can see John heading in the same direction, and it's where I one day hope to stand. All I want to do is be half the man you are, and I'll be a successful one. So congratulations, Dad. There's no one more deserving of this award than you.
My daughter, Andrea, and little Philip, the tech genius. Thank you. Wow. Anyway, being a father is the greatest thing in the world. Helping others is fantastic too. It's great to be here today, and I'm truly humbled to be receiving this prestigious award. Nothing is better than to be the father or be close to kids, because that's really the growth of our nation, and we can't do enough to really help them. It means a lot to me, and to have children, most of my children here. My one son is doing a story right now. He's a wine connoisseur in the south of France, so he's on location, but the other four are here. And I'm really fortunate to be on the stage with such illustrious group of fathers. Chris Christie, Tony Spring, all of you. The governor of New Jersey, bringing people together, is also a great father. Tony Spring is a strong leader. We're excited for the future of Bloomingdale's. Curtis Martin, I was intimidated being next to him during all the pictures. The guy is built, my God, it's unbelievable, you know? Are you wearing one of our suits? He said, no, I like to wear them, but it looked good on him, you know? And he was an inspiring player on and off the field. And to this year's All-Star Dad, Robert Reed, who supports his family and always puts them first. Everyone always asks me, you had an incredible career. You helped build Nine West as a creative director. You started a new company called Commuter Group in 2001. What was the greatest accomplishment that you can say today? And I always say the same thing. It's my children and my family. It's my greatest accomplishments. At the end of the day, we're all renting space. And if we could really help our children and young people today, that's what's going to also turn America. I'm so happy that 4 of my 5 children are here today. Nothing makes me happier than seeing them grow and become their own individuals. As I mentioned, Robert, my oldest intellectual, is an author of 2 books and a regular contributor to the Wine Spectator. He's on the cover, not on the cover, but he's has a major article in Wine Spectator, this with Brad Pitt on the cover. You know, he loves wines, writing blogs and articles. He makes me proud every day for his passion in writing and the family. Andrea, who's here today, is an avid photographer who has traveled the globe and really photographing children and women's causes in Africa, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Afghanistan at 3 months at a clip. I have to tell you, my heart was beating every single night until she came home. But she's very passionate, and she inspires me, and she helps me focus on what's important each and every day. John, my second oldest son, is in business with me, and fortunately has a great eye, because in our business, fashion eye, you really need it. It's wicked. I want to teach him, I always said, 2 most important things I tell everybody: if you're not happy, get out of what you're doing. First thing is, find your passion. The best thing we can give our children is you've got to find your passion and love it. You can't force it. And the second thing, if you're fortunate to find a mate who understands you, then you have it all made. And your children, and when your kids are happy, you're happy. I have a trainer that says to me sometimes, I said, my back is hurting me on my right side. She says, you know what that is? She's French. She says, it's your sons. If they're going through something, that's when you feel it. So anyway, the problem went away after a couple of days. And she said, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. You know? So it's so true. We feel everything on our kids, and it's really great to be here to really express it. It's great to be able to work with him. You'll see him develop and have him involved in the company and watch him grow. He's a great contributor. Christopher is the next little one. I call him Mr. Personality. He's green-eyed, not blue-eyed, okay? I like to call him. He's also working in the company. He's still in college, and he's traveling right now to Brazil, and he's traveling to China. He's traveling to South America, Mexico, to learn the industry. So what better need do you have to have your kids follow in your footsteps, you know? He loves working with customers. Everybody loves him, you know? And interacting with product to see what works. Philip, my youngest, is the techie of the group. He's always looking for the next and keeps me on my toes. He's the one who's responsible who turned me from a flip phone to an iPhone. You know, I still don't do emails. Amy, my assistant, helps me do that, you know? And I like to thank my wife, Louise, who's the creative director in our company, who's an inspiration, and she reminds me every day of the importance of my family. Nearly 1 out of 4 children live in poverty. That's a problem. When you think about how many children live in poverty, it's our job to come together to help them. I have a little story to tell you. I wasn't born in Brooklyn, although a lot of people say, were you born in Brooklyn? I said, no. I wasn't born in New Jersey, but I was born in Flushing, New York. My parents at the time had 2 children. My sister is a few years older than me and myself. And my mother, at the time, my father died at a very young age of a heart attack. I don't know, 39 or 40, whatever. And at that time, they didn't have any insurance. They had a business, but the partner said, you owe so much money, so she ended up with nothing. And we lived in this big house with the grandmother. The grandmother also died, and the stepsister, I can't go into the whole story, changed the papers, and we were left on the streets of New York in the high snows back then with 2 children, and this woman had my sister and I. That's a story I could remember for the rest of my life. Anyway, we were really down and out. Fortunately, we were taken in by the church to help us, you know, for a while. And then we moved to New York on the Lower East Side, and we were on welfare. So I was one of 1 in 4. But you know, my mother, for the short time that my dad lived, recounted all the stories of how my father felt. And she told me how proud he was. And she kept reinforcing. And that's what we don't do enough to our kids. And she would tell me that he was so in love with you, and he thought you can do it. And she kept reminding me that you can do anything. My wife said, I've never met anybody. I met her. She said, as so conceited as you. And no, humbly conceited. But you have confidence in yourself. And every morning I wake up, I feel like a gladiator, whatever I'm doing. That we can go through life, go through it. If your kids are good, you're good. And if you're sincere and you want to help people, it's the greatest thing in the world. Well, anyway, my mother always gave me the support and inspiration. She told me about my dad, and she told me so many stories and showed me all the photographs. It helped me believe that I can do anything. At age 12 was my first job in the Lower East Side. Funny, it was a shoe store, but it's, you know, it's how I started out. And I contributed. I know the numbers to this day of what the welfare gave us. It was $100 a month that we lived on. But basically, $20 went for, the place now must be $1 million on East 10th. But basically, it was $20 for rent, and the rest was food and everything. But you couldn't tell. I had my Levi's. I looked like my sons, you know? So there was no problem. I was class president and everything else. Didn't have a telephone. Everybody would say, hey, Vince, can I call you? This girl would say, can I call you? But it was $5. We couldn't afford it. I would say, well, we're moving. I'll give you my number when we change. But if you tell me, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. Growing up on the Lower East Side and feeling the excitement of growing. Not a lot of opportunities, because you're fearless at that age. I had an acting career. Everybody thought I was going to be an actor. No, Fortunately, I got married very young, and I had a son, and I got lucky by working in a shoe store, if you know the story, you know, basic on Fifth Avenue. It was unbelievable, and there I found my passion. It was easy. I wanted to please women in that way. Understand, nobody was talking to them. And I said, I want to be the first one to listen to them. And I'm still listening. And that's how we're building our business. While I was growing up, I didn't know, the other fear that I had was I didn't know how I was going to be as a father, since I've never been able to spend my childhood with my dad. And so I always was important to me to be there for my kids. So in the year 2000, my son Robert said it'd be a great idea that we all go, and we went to Sicily, where my father was born, and I took my whole family on vacation to find where my dad grew up. I stood there. They had these like double story and with the little garage at the bottom. And I went into the garage, and he was a cobbler at some point. And this is, you know, Chris says, I love the magic with this ring or whatever, you know. But I stood there taking the tools in my hand, and I swear to you, the electricity went through my whole body. And today, I still communicate with my dad. I have to tell you another thing. We took John and Chris were with me. Philip wasn't born yet. And we came home, and we put him in a special bag, and we went to JFK. And we had so much luggage. My wife was there, my older kids were there. And we left the bag at the curb. This is the true story. When I got home, John said to me, Dad, where's the bag? I said, oh my God. So it's like 3 hours later, we went back, and I don't know if it worked, but I did use the ring. The bag was laying there at the curb. And today, I still use it. Well, my kids growing up, and they had a difficult time, you know, divorce, separation, all this school, really need all that. And when they didn't want to get up, or it was whatever, their first love, and they had problems, I would really call on those things. And, you know, it's magical, because today, I tell you the truth, I still communicate with my dad. And it's the greatest thing, and my mom. Well, and the trip was really one of the favorite in my whole life. I want to many thanks to everyone here today who has contributed to support this great cause. Your commitment does not go unnoticed by the children you help. And to my family at work, and we have lots of young people, that's my extended family. I love them all. And thank you for all of your support. And to Dan Orquick, Matthew Young, Dana Verrill, Mark Shriver, and the entire Fathers of the Year team for your honor. It's a true blessing to be able to stand it with my family and honor all the fathers that are out there. And Nora, you're sensational. You know, really, it's great to see you. Thank you for your contribution and support. I want to end by saying that we can feel all good when we help those who are less fortunate. To be a father is the greatest thrill there is. I'm happiness when I'm surrounded by my family, as I said. In fact, I'm blessed that the people in my company, I love them all. We're all handpicked between my wife and I. And we have 400 people just in Connecticut. You know, probably have 1,200 people. I don't even know exactly. But I love them all. I accept this award on behalf of all the fathers, some of whom may be single parents, who do so much each day to ensure their kids happy and successful. Many thanks again for this great honor, and congratulations to all the parents here today. We have to ensure every child, that's our future, to have that support in some way in order to help them grow. That's our commitment, my commitment, and we should all be proud of doing that, because that's what's going to turn America around. We've got to find a way. Their kids may not have fathers, the mothers may be working, or they're not really involved, they're on their own. We got to find a way, first of all, for financial support, and then we got to give them moral support. But you talk about priorities in the country, that should be number one. And that's why we get asked to do all this. Like I say, I don't like to raise money. I'll pay. I'm not a retailer. I'm not, you know, Yes, but, I said, no, really. And I said, excuse me, Terry. Well, but I just said, but basically, how can you refuse when Dan, he's a partner of ours. He does all the menswear for us. And he said, Vince, you got to do it. It should be great. I know I couldn't refuse. We have to ensure that every child to save the children. It's great to be here. I'm truly humbled receiving this award. It really means so much to me because it's so close to my heart. And I'm honored to be on stage with such a group of fathers like we have today. Governor Christie is a great man bringing people together, and we wish you all the luck in the world. Thank you, everyone. Mark, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Our next honoree is Curtis Martin, and he is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Curtis Martin was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2012 after a successful career with the New York Jets and New England Patriots. Drafted in the third round by the New England Patriots in 1995, Curtis Martin ran 30 yards on his first NFL carry, scored the game-winning touchdown, and became the first Patriots player to rush for 100 yards in his pro debut. Curtis Martin finished the year as the AFC's leading rusher with 1,487 yards and scored 14 touchdowns. He was named Rookie of the Year, All-AFC, and voted to the first of his 5 Pro Bowls. I work at CBS, and so Jim Nantz, of course, calls most of the games on CBS. So here's where I get to use my Jim Nantz voice, because I always want to be Jim Nantz. That's kind of my other goal in life, to someday be a sports broadcaster. Curtis Martin then joined the New York Jets after his third season and played with them for another 8 years. He had his finest moments in the second to last season when he rushed for a career-high 1,697 yards in 2004 to win the NFL rushing title. He also tied his career high of 9 games with 100 or more yards rushing and was named first team All-Pro for the second time that season. Curtis Martin is NFL's 4th leading rusher of all time with 14,101 yards. And as I looked over Curtis's record, as if it weren't enough being such a fabulous running back, this is a man who has also decided to excel at giving back. Curtis Martin began setting aside a percentage of every paycheck to establish the Curtis Martin Job Foundation. It was initially meant to aid single mothers, right? Well, it has since been expanded to support education and housing needs, children's charities, individuals with disabilities, and includes an initiative to send surgeons to third world countries to perform operations for the poor and the uninsured. Today, Curtis Martin and his wife Carolina reside in Long Island, New York with their 2 daughters. Please welcome us in honoring 2014 Father of the Year Award winner, Curtis Martin.
Well, thank you. Governor Christie and I, he mentioned that we were speaking him back. Just to tell you a quick story. So my wife, I get a phone call from downstairs, mind you, I'm upstairs. And she calls me one day and she says, so what's this Father of the Year stuff, I said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, they nominated me for, and that's a bad habit I have. I never tell people what I'm being, awarded for. I said, I forgot to tell you. She said, oh, well, they didn't ask me. She said, what have you done? She said, maybe Father of the Day, not Father of the Year. Well, she couldn't be here because she's at home breastfeeding. We have a 3-month-old, so she couldn't get away. She said, what have you done in your father year? I said, you know what? She asked me this today. I said, last night, our daughter, her name's Ava, she's 2.5. She has like this routine before she goes to bed. And it's so hard just to get her to go down and go to sleep. So she says, I'm putting her to bed. Mind you, I have to take a shower, like she says, a wower. I have to take a shower with her, and I have to wear my swimming trunks, and I have to hold her on my back, and I have to dance and play Bruno Mars and sing Locked Out of Heaven to her, you know, and before I get her to go to bed. And so my wife said, well, what'd you do to get Father of the Year? I said, last night, I answered 22 whys in a row. You know, she's at that phase where she wants to know why about everything. So I said, all right, Ava, it's time for you to go night-night. She says, but why? I said, because it's getting late and, you know, it's time to go to bed. But why? Because it's like 8 o'clock and you see outside it's starting to get dark. The sun is going down. But why? Well, Ava, because, you know, the planets revolve around the sun and, you know, it's just the way it happens and you have to, but what? So to bore you of the other, you know, like 15 whys, you know, the conversation ended up with me saying, listen, on the 7th day, God rested. And if God had to take a rest, then Ava has to go night-night too. And, you know, then she says, oh, okay, and she lays down. Well, again, let me get back to the point, the reason why we're here. This is one of the awards that I would never in a million years think that I'd ever be up here standing receiving because, you know, I grew up without my father. And I think there's a huge difference between having a father and having a daddy. I never had a daddy, you know, I had a father. I spoke a little bit about, you know, my relationship with my father, a man that I always loved, that I always tried to have a relationship with, but he was just unavailable. He was there until I was, I believe, 5 years old. And I watched my father literally do some things that children shouldn't see. You know, I literally watched him beat my mother so bad. I mean, like she was a man. I've seen him, you know, take every drug in the world. And I mean, he was, one of the things that my father taught me is what not to be as a father. And sometimes I think you have to make lemonade out of lemons. And that was my life situation. One of the things that I'll never forget was my father giving me a call. And he says, Kurt, you know, why don't you come home? I said, all right, Dad, is there anything in particular? Any reason why? He said, well, no, I just want you to come home. And usually if he calls me, I know it's because he needs money or something. I said, well, you know what, you need some money or anything? He said, no, I don't need any money. And that was the first time in my entire life that my father ever said he didn't need any money. And so I decided to go home. And when I get there, you know, he's no longer living in his house. He's actually at the hospice. And so I go to visit him there, and you know, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him, and he says, you know, that cancer got me, man. I said, wow. I said, so what are they saying? He said, I don't think I have long. And I went outside to speak to the doctor. I said, well, listen, Doc, can you just shoot straight with me? How much longer do my father have? He said, less than a month, Curtis. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 at best. And I went in there and sat with my father, and it was the most amazing time of my life. I felt like it was the first time that I had a daddy, you know, because the time that we spent in those 2 weeks was unbelievable. And I feel like my father taught me more in that 2 weeks than he did in my entire 30-some years at that time that he was living. Very, very grateful just to have that time with him. And I just want to say this because I think that it's really important. I'm sure there are some fathers and mothers in here who may not have the best relationship with their children, and some children who may not have the best relationship with their parents. But life is too short. You just never know when that person is going to be gone. And all these things that seem like big issues and big divides between you and your parents or you and your children, forgive them. Just forgive them. I think that was one of the greatest things that my father taught me, because though he wasn't there, though I seen him abuse my mother, though, I feel like he chose drugs over me, his son, though he would never come to any of my games or anything, one of the greatest lessons I learned from my father is how to forgive, because I totally forgave him. And one of my greatest accomplishments in life was getting my mother, after all that she had been through, to forgive my father. It was that's my greatest accomplishment. I've been to Pro Bowls, I've played in the NFL, I've done a lot with my life that I'm very proud of, but I'm most proud of being able to get my mother to forgive my father for all that he did to her. And I know we're honoring fathers, and I'm so grateful for this honor, but I really have to honor my mother right now, because excuse me, I'm sorry. She taught me how to be a man, and it's because of what she taught me that I'm able to be the father that I am today to my children. And that's one of the greatest gifts out of everything that I've been through in my life. I'm so glad to be blessed with 2 little daughters, and they are like my heart. And I'm so grateful to be able to be a good father to them. And I'm really thankful for you all honoring me tonight. Thank you all.
Beautifully said, and as any parent knows, putting children to bed is not easy. I have 3 of them and struggle with that every night. Our last honoree is Chairman and CEO of Bloomingdale's, Tony Spring. At this time, I'd like to invite Tony's children, Nathan and Tyler, to come up and say a few words about their father. Please welcome them.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Okay. So, to us, our father, Tony Spring, is more than just a father. Like many fathers, our dad spends countless hours at work doing all the stuff that the CEO of a company would do. He wakes up at 5:30 a.m., long before I am even close to being awake, to arrive at work early before the morning rush hour, and comes at home at 8 p.m. to get home after the evening rush hour.
When he gets home, he eats dinner with us, he chats with us about the day. He then goes right off to bed, though, to prepare for the next morning and repeat the cycle again. From when he wakes up until he goes to sleep, not a moment seems to be wasted. Not only this, however, but he is also in the midst of all this time, finds time to attend nearly all of our activities, even on short notice.
Like martial arts.
Tennis matches.
Or soccer matches.
School meetings.
Piano recitals.
Band concerts.
And choir concerts.
Bar mitzvahs.
And graduations.
College visits.
And college drop-offs.
Even my pre-prom.
Really?
Actually, he was there. Our dad has managed to attend all of these events during the week.
And on the weekend, when we, sick of homework children, are attempting to sleep the morning away, we are awoken by a loud voice full of energy that comes stomping up the stairs.
Tyler! Nathan! We are going to lunch and a movie! We are leaving in 15 minutes!
Well, no, we are a little bit grumpy because we're teenagers and we want our sleep. But after the initial getting woken up and taking a step back, we can realize we have a lot to be grateful for. And we can really be amazed. This is a man who from dawn till dusk on the week devotes himself to his work and his family. On dawn till dusk on the weekend, devotes himself just as much, if not more. It's really just amazing. And he just makes sure that not a minute of time is not used to its fullest. And the real question is, how can a man balance this much stuff with only 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night?
We've come to the definite conclusion that based on the amount of time that our father puts into both his work and his family, and with the amount of devotion that he uses in both fields, that Tony Spring is one of two things. He is either A, time wizard, or B, Father of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Spring.
I was listening to the two of them the last few days. They had the door closed as they were kind of putting the remarks together, and they couldn't stop laughing. So I definitely want to hear the bloopers that your mother cut out, because they must have been awfully good. But thank you, boys. I love you very much. Congratulations to my fellow honorees. I'm inspired by all that we've heard this afternoon. I mean, the stories are impressive, your careers, your commitment to your families, the philanthropic work you do. You set an example that I still hope to accomplish. My father passed away in 2011. He believed in only a few things: his New York Yankees, his New York Rangers, 8 p.m. tonight, watch it, his putting, which he never taught me, and his boys. My dad had many vices, but I always knew I had his unconditional love. It's a quality that I try to certainly emulate with my own children. My mother and my brother Michael are here today, and they know I was just an ordinary kid, and I'm fortunate to have had them in my life to help me achieve extraordinary things. Becoming a CEO or anything like this was certainly not on my radar or any kind of life plan. I really just wanted to work and to make a little money and have fun. As a kid, I had a number of odd jobs, the paper route, whatever I could kind of get my hands on. And then eventually, when I turned 16, I went to work at a fast food restaurant. And I was so excited. I was going to get to cook. I was going to get to work with customers. It was going to be the greatest day of my life. And the manager said, Tony, there's the parking lot. The parking lot? Yeah, the parking lot's filthy. And with the rolling garbage can, I proceeded to head to the parking lot and clean all the garbage for the next 3 hours. And I came back, and the manager said, did you learn anything? And I tried to bite my tongue and control my sarcastic self, and said, well, the parking lot's clean. He said, no, the lesson I was trying to show you, because it's important, that's the first impression that we make with every customer. And we are the brand that we are today because we try and take care of every solitary touch point. And so I still remember how to make a Whopper, but I certainly remember Andy's comments those days. Today I see my role as a leader who must preserve and build on the Bloomingdale's brand, as well as mentor and guide the next generation of our organization. As a father, I'm committed to nurture and teach my two boys how important their contributions are to the future of this society. My role as CEO does not overshadow my role as a father. Both are integral to the person that I absolutely want to be. There are some days I wish I could start over. You know, as the two boys talk about the hours in the day, I'm not sure I spend it always so wisely. I try to do as much as I possibly can. I ran across this poem by Diane Lumens that I thought was apropos of today, and a reminder, I think, to those that are just starting with another child. If I had a child to raise all over again, I'd finger paint more and point the finger less. I do less correcting and maybe more connecting. I take my eyes off my watch and watch more with my eyes. I take care to know less and know to care more. I take more hikes and I'd fly more kites. I'd stop playing serious and seriously play. I'd run through fields and I'd gaze at more stars. I'd do more hugging and less tugging. I would be less firm. I would be firm less often. I'd affirm much more. I build self-esteem first, and I take care of the house later. I teach less about the love of power and more about the power of love. In truth, we don't get a second chance. To those new parents, as I said, enjoy every moment. It really is wonderful. And the memories that we all cherish in life come from those moments in time. I truly believe that parenting is a special gift, a blessing. My wife and I are so fortunate. While you recognize me today as a father, I certainly know that Grace is the center of my life and my love, and nothing is possible without her. I love you, sweetie. I'm so glad that we're here today to support Save the Children. As was already mentioned a couple of times, the fact that 1 in 4 children live in poverty and that we sit here today and can do something about it reminds us really the priorities in life. And this is a wonderful honor. I so appreciate you being here today. Thank you very, very much.
Congratulations, Tony. And just before we wrap up and before Dan makes some closing remarks, congratulations to all of our honorees, to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for loving and supporting your wives and your children. And now Dan with some final remarks and to pull out that raffle, a $500 gift card from Bloomingdale's.
Oh, yes, we need that.
Yes. Raffle.
Yeah, Dan is going to go get
Okay,
that
make
for
your
us.
remarks. We'll go grab the raffle.
Okay. All right, wow, some wonderful speeches, great honorees. It's fantastic. Thank you, Nora. We're so honored that you could join us this year, both as Outstanding Mother Award honoree and as Wonderful Mistress of Ceremonies. I would also like to thank Mark Shriver for making us laugh, and for all the support he has given our organization throughout the years, and for today inspiring us all with the work that Save the Children does throughout the country and the world. We are proud to partner with an organization like Save the Children's U.S. programs. Well, here we go. All right, no, it's Mr. Spring's choice.
Yeah, Tony.
Yes.
The gift card.
Nora, you get to announce it.
Okay, $500 from Bloomingdale's goes to Martin Bischoff, the Managing Director of French American Chamber of Congress. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Okay, so a text-to-pledge update. Dana just informed me that we are at $19,000 as of right now. It's fantastic news. We cannot do it without all of your help. Thank you for the support. Let's keep the momentum going. Please keep texting. We have a few more minutes. All right. I'm sorry? Altogether, Dana, do we have a total number at this point? Raised? Total for the event? $825,000. Vince, we still have some time. We still have some time. So a few thank yous to the people who have made today's event possible. I would like to personally thank my incredible Father's Day committee, the All-Star team. It has been an honor to serve on this council with you. Your dedication, hard work, and commitment has been an inspiration. Mel Goldfeder, Frank Chalou, Stuart Goldblatt, Jonathan Greller, Michael Haskell, Mark Heller, Anna Hunt, Michael McMullen, Daniel Poggi, Leah Roberts, Elliot Rosenfield, Sunil Sani, Glenn Shannon, Mark Schneider, Billy Sussman, Jeffrey Tweedy, Deb Vanderheeden, Rich Wurzberger, and last but certainly not least, my co-chair, Matthew Youngs. I think he's over there. Thank you, Matthew. And our executive director, Dana Verrill. A special thanks to GQ for sponsoring our All-Star Dad Award and for generously designing and producing the elegant invitations and today's journal. To our 2014 Fathers of the Year, I'd like to extend one final congratulations to you all. We're honored that you could join us here today. Thanks again to everyone for coming, and celebrating these outstanding dads. This concludes our program. Please have a wonderful afternoon, and happy Father's Day to all.